he runs, I beat him up. He comes to fight, I put him to sleep.
To Spitalfields here in the East End of London. We are here live and well. What a venue, what a place we've been treated to this week. Wednesday we're in the South Bank. Today we are in, well, almost in Shoreditch and around some amazing smells. I'm going to have to keep my eye on you two because you might duck off in a minute.
What an atmosphere, what a surrounding as well. Perfect place to have this, because when the fans turn out, support their own, you know, that does it all. And I think the bill itself is going to be one of those bills that people will be talking about all summer through, because from the undercard up, it's going to be quite a night, Saturday night.
Certainly is. Well, very shortly the fighters will be taking the scales and meet for the final time before they all lock horns at the O2 Arena on Saturday night. Now, in terms of our main event, Dillian Whyte, he's not a man to pick the easy option, is he, Matt?
No, I think it's a tough fight. You know, Dillian Whyte, he's rolling the dice. He's believing in his career path, his plans. He had the opportunity to fight Anthony Joshua, turned it down. A lot of people thought he should have took that fight, but you know, here he is in a final eliminator, interim title on the line against Oscar Rivas, a dangerous, undefeated former Olympian. So you have to credit and admire Dillian's self-belief and his the fact that he stayed in his lane, believed in his plan, and you know, all going well, and he gets over Rivas. He's going to become mandatory challenger. We don't know when that's going to be, but he will be mandatory challenger. The Fury, Wilder, politics, who knows, but he will be the next, he will get his shot, that's for sure.
That's the thing, we've spoken a lot at length about this. Dillian Whyte, he seems to have the patience of a saint, doesn't he? 600 days, over 600 days, he was #1 with the WBC. He's waited a long time. We finally found out on Wednesday that it will be for the interim title and he will be for that mandatory spot. How much of a relief is that for him? Do you think that will give him an extra push going into this fight?
Well, I mean, his response when he heard it, because I was stood next to him when they told him, he said, "Oh, really?" and just didn't flick an eyelid, because he thought he's been so hard done to that he doesn't want to get too excited and be promised something that's not going to materialise. I liked him yesterday when we sat down and we spoke to the fighters afterwards, and Dillian was very matter-of-fact about all he wants to do is fight. All he wants to do is prove to himself that he's world title class, and in picking such an opponent that could legitimately be a world title challenger, he thinks he's getting that message across. It's going to get to this stage where the governing bodies are doing themselves no favours when they show such an injustice, because the fighters are saying, you know what, I might not actually bother about your belt, just give me the fighter who you're saying is #1. You've got two fighters that believe they're in the who needs him club, and so they've both got the same argument, the same ambition, the same hunger.
He's proved himself, and as I said, he has played the patient game. Some might say that he's almost earned a gimme. He doesn't need to take the hard option.
No, but I think it keeps him sharp. He alluded to it yesterday when we were chatting to him in the fighter meetings. He said, you know, if I'm going into this 10-week camp and I've got to push myself through these, you know, pain barriers and everything, he said, and you know, I've got to do without certain food and I've got to move away from home. I need to know that I've got a serious challenge on my plate in order to make me do that. So in order for him to perform to his best, he needs a real opponent in the opposite corner, and in Oscar Rivas, he has that. This is an undefeated former Olympian, dangerous opponent, biggest opportunity of his career. I mean, he was very confident in the fight. It means he absolutely He believes that he's going to get past Dillian Whyte, so I think we're in a real treat. I think it's going to be a great fight, but I did like Dillian Whyte's focus. I thought he wasn't being dragged away from Oscar Rivas with too much talk about the WBC or the interim of Wilder Fury. I like the way he seemed very focused on Oscar Rivas, and you know he's going to have to be.
We'll consider that point in just a second. I just want to say, apologise really for if we're having a few sound issues, and we're not just playing a game here. They're not holding these just for fun. It's not like a lollipop they're holding. We're doing the round robins because we are having a few sound issues, so just bear with us. We do appreciate your patience. Following on from that, the focus thing, Dillian Whyte, he seems to have that kind of, he just wants to get it done now.
When Matt was talking earlier on, it actually reminded me, as a fighter, we all in training camp, we love it, but we hate it. We're not prepared for it just before we get into training camp. It's the hardest thing to go into. What Dillian Whyte has done, he's picked a tough, hard opponent when he could have picked a soft touch. And as a fighter, you think, why would you do that? Why would you do that in such close touching distance of a world title? He showed what kind of animal he is. He's ambitious, he's hungry, he just wants to fight. You can go back to throwback fighters that were just like him. I keep saying he reminds me of a Joe Frazier. He doesn't care, just want to fight.
With Oscar Rivas being 26-0 though, he has the air of confidence, he has that self-belief, and he's coming over here, he's coming over to win. How dangerous does that make him?
No, very dangerous. This is right up there with the tough. I mean, you know, Parker was a tough fight for Dillian Whyte. You know, he got through it. He performed really well. Then you think, then he goes and takes the Chisora fight. You think, oh, he's rolling the dice. That's another tough fight. Came from behind to get the knockout victory. Now he's rolling the dice again with, you know, maybe the toughest of them all, because what Rivas has that they didn't. He's got a freshness. He's got that hunger. This is a big opportunity. He's coming up his career best win against Brian Jennings. He's got great momentum coming into this fight. So, you know, he's been itching. He's been dying for this opportunity. So, but I like that Dillian, you know, he's took a tough fight. I admire him. But, you know, it's all on the line again.
It's a good job I go to the gym, isn't it, holding this mic here? Got good biceps. All right, okay, we're going to take a quick break now. The crowds are really beginning to hear Spitalfields Market ahead of the weigh-in, with the finals will take to the scales for the final time ahead of the big fight at the O2 tomorrow night.
Switch downstairs, the right hand. That is another one-punch knockout.
This was the first target. That's done. Now we can look forward again.
We've now got someone I really believe that will bring the world heavyweight title back to Great Britain.
The David Allen train rolls on. That right hand carries serious weight.
And the referee jumps in right at the end of the round. David Allen doesn't like it.
He just looked lethargic and he looked like he was forcing everything, and that's not good enough. It's not acceptable.
Effective with a left hook, lays out David Price.
That's a life-changing moment right there. Dave Allen against Big David Price. Who knows what's going to happen?
He's as tough as become, better boxer than he's given credit for, and probably gives himself credit for.
I will knock David Price out.
The biggest fight of my career, by far.
Definitely going to be going in there to try and knock him out.
Heavyweight boxing is back.
We'll do it again, over.
Kaboom!
Boom, 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 boom. Shoot you right. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. knocks me out off of my feet. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, what a shot!
Bang, bang, bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang.
Hello there, welcome back to Spitalfield Markets. As you can see, the crowds are filling up nicely. It's almost the perfect timing, isn't it, to have a weigh-in? People just coming out of work and they can pop down and come see the guys get on the scales. And talking of our main event fighter, Dillian Whyte and Oscar Rivas, they will be taking the scales in around half an hour's time, we should say. What sort of weight are you expecting Dillian to come in at? Yesterday in the fighters meeting, he said he reckons he'll be around the sort of 17 stone 8 mark. When he fought Josie Parker, he was 18 stone 6, and then of course he dropped 12 pounds when he faced Chisora in December. What are you expecting?
He said his optimum weight is between 17 stone 8 and 17 stone 10. That's when he feels good. He's happy, he feels sharp. Anything heavier than that, he's got the power, but he just feels sluggish as the rounds roll on. I think he'll come in about 17.8, 17.9, because he knows, and he looks in great condition, but he knows this is more than any of us. This is a tough ask. And he said that when we were in Loughborough watching him spar, he knew what to expect, and sparring's been very, very hard for him. So I don't think he's cut any corners. He's been very professional. He doesn't care about any of this. He just wants to get in there, get the job done, and come out with a win.
As I said, we last saw him in December take on Derek Chisora. What adjustments will Dillian have to make going into this fight with Oscar Rivas?
Sorry, Anna.
What adjustments will he have to make in terms of training, in terms of style, everything?
Dillian, I think he needs, you know, like Johnny said, that every fighter has an optimum fighting weight, and as a heavyweight, he doesn't have to make weight. But there'll be a weight limit that he's comfortable at, where he's strong, but also that he has speed and he has agility. You know, Rivas is pretty athletic. He throws a lovely looping right hand over the top. He's got a good jab as well. He likes to get in close, up close, and work the body. So I think Dillian doesn't want to be too sluggish, too heavy. You know, he'll want to be able to be mobile. He'll want to be able to use his jab and be comfortable in there. So I think that is. Yeah, like Johnny, I expect him to come in and around the 17.5, 17.10, somewhere like that.
Well, I can tell you, his opponent, Oscar Rivas, has arrived. He is here at Spittlefield's Market. Kaboom Rivas. He is unbeaten, 26-0, and he comes in off that brilliant win, Johnny, over Bryant Jennings. That it was such a close fight. That
it's a tall order, and of course, I'm quite sure most of us here want Dillian to pull this off. But a lot of the experts around here are saying this could be that banana skin, and I cannot understand why he picked Rivas. My old trainer Brendan Ingle would never have put me in with Rivas if I was so close to boxing for a world title. He said Rivas is the kind of guy you use as a world title opponent, but not as a picker.
Were you surprised how confident Rivas was yesterday in the fighters' meeting?
Completely confident. I'm quite sure Dillian Whyte doesn't look anything special, and David Hay will tell you that. He said he zooms into as well, but his reach, his jab is about 2-3 inches longer than you expected. So he knew. I don't think Rivas realised what's in front of him until the bell goes.
Yeah, Dillian's one of those fighters that's a lot better than he looks. It's not till you get in there that you realise how difficult of an opponent he is. You know, he doesn't do anything particularly special. He doesn't throw flashy combinations. He doesn't look especially explosive, but he's a big lump. He's physically very strong, very tenacious, and he's got a very long jab.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there and hand you over to MC David Diamante for the introductions for this week.
Huge night of boxing action that's taking place at the O2 Arena. Now, all of it's brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. It's going to be broadcast live around the world on Sky Sports Box Office and DAZN. We're sponsored by William Hill, StubHub, JD Sports, and Val. Ladies and gentlemen, this fight card is stacked. 9 fights, 5 title fights, and 5 heavyweight fights. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring the fighters up to the stage so they can face each other and face the scale. Right now, we've got a 4-round heavyweight affair. We got a guy from France against a Croatian fighter. Let's go ahead and bring up this gentleman, 5 and 6. All 5 of his wins coming by way of knockout, Morgan Dessau.
So we're into the heavyweights. This is, of course, Alen Babic versus Morgan Dessau. We'll see Morgan Dessau hopefully take the scales very shortly. A lot of excitement around Babic, Johnny. Croatian heavyweight. Whyte, in fact, signed him because he was so impressed with him in sparring.
Yeah. The whole gym have got so much respect for this guy because he was one of those fighters. He's one of those fighters that loves to fight. When he went in there with Dillian, when Dillian hit him in sparring, he's licking his lips saying, "Let's get into this." He's a warmonger, and Dillian said, "You know what? This guy is giving me hellfire. This guy, he's got to be on the bill. This guy can fight for fun."
Yeah, I mean, he's only had one professional fight, and that was only a few weeks ago. So I think the reputation that he has.
Last week in Rome.
Yeah, so but the reputation that he's made that in the gyms, he's held his own inspired and given everything they wanted. Dillian Whyte said was impressed with him. Probably, I'd love to have seen those sparring sessions, but he's got a nickname, the Savage. So you don't get that for nothing.
How much of a handful do you think Babic will be for Dessau tomorrow?
Sorry.
How much of a handful do you think Babic will be for Dessau?
Yeah, I mean, he's only had one fight. It's early days in his career, but he was a good amateur. He's already sparring quality opposition, so I think he's gonna be a right handful for anyone.
It just shows, Johnny, how impressed Dillian was with his sparring. What an opportunity that is as well to showcase what you've got.
Of course, because you get the best into sparring with. You want them to give you the best. So if you've got a sparring partner there and he's that good, you think, I need this guy to build. Dillian knows what excitement this guy can create on such a build. So of course he wants to build to be successful on every level, and to get him on the build. It's a great honour for him to get involved in such a big build in his second professional fight.
So he is only 1-0, Babic. It is early days for him, but what do you want to see from him tomorrow night?
I want to see if he can match the reputation that's all of a sudden been created around him after his first professional fight.
Yeah,
so
exactly. He's 1-0. It's his second professional fight, but hearing big things in and around the gyms. So I'm looking to see an impressive performance from him.
Well, we're continuing the heavyweight theme because next up is Fabio Wardley. He takes on Mariano Strunt tomorrow night. Another one of Whyte's people he's looking after, Wardley. He's a real character, isn't he?
Yeah, and we've seen him box several times now, and he's been impressive each time. No amateur background, came through the white collar route, but he's
what do you make of that?
I mean, it's not the norm. It's good to have amateur background, the pedigree, because you've got good foundations, good technical, solid foundations. I mean, he doesn't have that. What he does have, he's explosive. He's got confidence, self-belief. He throws a solid right uppercut, right hook. He obviously carries power. He obviously wants it as well. He goes in and around the gyms. He's sparred experienced opponents. So it's interesting. I'll be interested to watch his career. It's not the norm. But so far, so good.
So far, so good. He's 7-0. 6 of those wins coming by way of knockout, John. He's 24 years old. He hasn't necessarily had rounds yet. Does he need those? Will he get those tomorrow night?
Well, it's about levels, and right now at the novice level, he's just too good for what's in front of him. And picking up on what Matthew said.
How does he look to you?
He's always looked that way. He's confident, relaxed. He's not an Adonis, but he looks in great shape. And picking up on what Matthew said, the fact that he has no amateur background, it just means we don't know how good he is or isn't.
Does that matter?
Doesn't matter. Listen, I had 13 amateur fights. Does it matter? So and I only won 3. So to me, it doesn't matter. But it gives you a great springboard as a professional.
How do you see this fight going down, Matt?
No, I think I'm looking for another impressive performance from Fabio Wardley. He's a work in progress. He's inexperienced, like I say, no amateur background, so he's learning as he goes, but he's been impressive each and every time he's been in. So just more of the same, really, just to go out there, put on a dominant performance, impress, and learn something, take something from the fight. So yeah, I've enjoyed watching him so far, and looking forward to him again.
Exactly, and on the big stage, Johnny, as well, at the O2 Arena, what an opportunity to show what you
What
can
a
do.
great way to prep as a professional. I just don't know the depths of him yet. I'm not. There's nothing that he's done that I can say he's doing that wrong. I don't know how good he can be. He's going along steadily, and that's good for him. So he's staying in his lane, as they say. I just want to see when he has to step up a little bit, and that'll tell us what real depth he has as a professional fighter.
A real chance for him tomorrow night. Look at this, Derek Chisora. War Chisora is in the house, arriving here at Spitalfields with his manager, promoter David Hay. Looking very chilled. He didn't do much of the workout, did he, on Wednesday? We saw more of a speech rather than anything else. He's been his usual character himself, but with Derek Chisora, you just never know what you're going to get, do you?
No, well, he's very long in the tooth at this stage, Derek Chisora. He's walked this walk many, many times before. So I think he's enjoying it. He's got to be in the twilight of his career now. He's had some top hard fights, but he's still very much enjoying it. He was soaking up. He looked happy, you know. So he's boxing someone he knows very well. He's very familiar with him.
Spilko, yeah.
You know, he doesn't like southpaws, but he said he's going to get the job done.
We'll see him hit the scales very shortly before him, though. It's Charlie Duffield versus Dan Aziz. 10 rounds for the vacant Southern Area Light Heavyweight title. So Dan, 12 stone, 6'9" for him. Charlie Duffield about to step on the scales. Smiles there from Charlie. It's good to see, isn't it? A nice relaxed fighter.
Very relaxed, and again, another fight I saw in training camp, very happy with how training's gone. They have all worked very, very hard. I saw him again. He knows he's been underrated. And he thinks he's gonna slip under the radar here. Keep an eye on him. This will be a good fight.
12 stone, 6'5" for Charlie. This is a real cracking London derby, isn't it?
Yeah, great fight. No bad needle, because they're friends. They train in the same gym. But I know from fighting Jamie Moore, sometimes best friends bring out the, you go bell to bell. You don't want to give in. You got that respect for your friend, but you don't want him to get the better of you. So
is it not strange fighting someone that you're so close to?
Yes and no. I mean, at the end of the day, when the bell goes, it doesn't matter how well you know them. You're going to war, and I expect this fight to be a great fight. I favour Aziz, but it's going to be close.
A lot of respect between the two, Johnny.
Did you see the back on Duffield? It's massive. He's got the back of a heavyweight.
Yeah, both shredded.
Oh my goodness, what great condition they're both in.
So Chisora's opponent is here. Spilka is in the house. I am looking forward to this one. As you said, Matt, historically, Chisora doesn't deal very well with southpaws. He admitted it himself, didn't he, yesterday in the meeting? He actually said he accepted the fight and then almost had a bit of a second thought afterward, going, oh, okay, yeah, he's a southpaw. His mum actually advised him not to take the fight.
Yeah, which we all made us all smile. But I actually think that this Spilka isn't as awkward a southpaw as the last opponent, Gashi, who was very negative, came to survive, just did not stop moving, and it was difficult for Chisora to pin him down. At this stage in Chisora's career, he wasn't the best at closing the distance anyway. He likes to stand there and trade off. So, but I think Spilka will be, he'll be more stationary, and Chisora will be able to get to him.
Introducing up first to the stage, the challenger. He's with his head trainer, Carlos Vilches. By the way, he took Ricky Hatton the distance in Manchester. His head trainer, Mariano Godina, 13-2, 8 knockouts, fighting out of Belleville, Cordoba, Argentina. Please welcome Mariano Godino.
Yep, so this is Lawrence Okoli taking on Mariano Godino. 10 rounds of the WBA Continental Cruiserweight title. Yesterday, Eddie said something quite interesting, Johnny. He said Lawrence Okoli is the toughest person to find an opponent in the cruiserweight division. Why is that?
Lawrence Okoli is a kind of opponent that you will struggle to look good against, and you will struggle to beat, because his style is so unorthodox. His style is so awkward, but so effective. He's one of the guys you can't trade him. You can't pick him out.
He's tall, he's gangly, he's skinny, but he's physically strong. He's one of those skinny, strong guys, you know, they're really wiry. He can crack really hard with the right hand. He's a bit ungangly, he's so awkward. He's just absolutely horrible to fight. He's got that horrible style.
And of course, he's changed trainers. He's now with Shane McGuigan. What can Shane add to his game?
Shane will try and refine him. But I suppose that's going to be a tough ask. It's going to be a lot. You know what? I don't think so. Naturally, a Cody fights the way he does. You will add a bit more to his repertoire, but I honestly think Lawrence Cody's awkwardness is actually his plus. That's what gets him when it's going.
Yeah, I mean, horrible to fight because he's so awkward, but he's not always the easiest on the eye, but he's very effective.
You know what? We all talk about him being a work in progress. He's by no means the finished product. He'll say that himself, but he has achieved the British and Commonwealth titles. He's WBA Continental Champ as well. So is that criticism? Is it warranted?
Well, I mean, he was an Olympian, so he was a good amateur, but he had actually very limited experience. He was he was effective, he won, and he got on a GB squad. Next thing in the Olympic Games, so he's boxed at a high level as an amateur, but he hasn't had a lot of amateur fights. And he does need work technically and that, but he's kind of developed a style that works for him. Like I say, he's tall, he's very wiry, he's very effective.
Bit of spice between the two of them as well, Johnny.
I was too occupied with the gestures on stage there, and Akoli just very coolly walked off and just ignored it.
Well, Akoli came in 14 stone 3 pounds 4 ounces. Or I know 14 stone 3 pounds 9 ounces. So well in the limit there for both of them. The White Rhino. Here he is, strolling, happy as he has been all week. David Allen, who takes on David Price. Now, this is a fight that really has got everyone talking. I don't think many people can pick a winner. They don't know who they're going to go for, but I know there's a lot of excitement around this one.
And I don't think anyone wants to pick a winner. They're like boxing, two of boxing's real good guys. David Price, one of the nicest fellas you could meet. But then Dave Allen, what a great story, and again, a lovely kid. So it's one of those, and by the way, I think it's probably going to end dramatic. I see that fight ending in knockout. I'm not sure which way I think it's going to go, but I think either Price knocks him out badly, or Allen gets the Price and KOs him. I think it's going to be brutal.
I think if next on the line you've got to pick a winner, I'd go with Allen. I'd go with Allen's determination. I'd go with his toughness.
Are you going with the theory that it could be Price early or Allen long?
I'm going with the theory that Allen walks through Price's shots and wears him down, and because Allen has two help on both sides. Price will beat himself, and Allen's pressure will outbeat him, and that's why I think for Allen, that's why it works for him.
I think Price is the bigger puncher of the two, but I think Allen has the better chin. And Allen definitely hits hard enough to take Price out. So it's an intriguing matchup. I think you get the long, tall, upright stance with good jab. Long right hand, good uppercut to Price. They're the shots he'll be looking for. But Allen's getting better and better, and he's with Darren Barker now. His confidence is high. It's a good fight. This.
I'm actually really interested to see what Dave Allen comes in at on the scales. I mean, he's been working wonders with Darren Barker in the gym.
Well, it's a brilliant condition, I think, for Dave Allen, which is about determination and desire. And so stepping in to the gym and changing his whole lifestyle in preparation for a fight, that's what he's needed.
Well, we've just seen Ibra Rivas step on the scales. He takes on Dalton Smith. He's actually come in at very, very short notice. 4 rounds at super lightweight for this one, so a late change for Dalton Smith. Will that matter? Will that change his game?
At this level in a fighter's career, it's part and parcel of a professional fighter. You've got to deal with it. It preps you for that kind of thing as you're coming up, especially if you're not a headliner, especially if you're not the main guy on the bill. This is how most fighters learn their skill.
Well, Rivas, his record is 1 win in the last 162 fights, Matt.
Yeah, but Dalton Smith is a good amateur, good prospect. Early days for him, so it's just about getting him out. he's going to win this fight unless something massively out of the blue happens. But it's a great card to be on. It's great exposure for him, and you know, it's another outing for him. He's very much a work in progress. Good amateur career, but you know, he's a novice professional, and it's about being on these big cards. It's about getting his name out there, and you know, his opponent is a last-minute opponent. It is what it is.
Can you see him making a statement tomorrow?
Yeah, I think he'll want to. He'll want to go out and perform well, as all boxers do on every show. He'll want to go out and he'll want to put into practice what he's been working on in the gym.
Well, we've seen Dave Allen arrive here. This is his opponent, David Price, signing a few fans' gloves as he comes in. He really does seem to be mentally in possibly the best place we've ever seen him.
When we had the fighters meeting again with David Price, I asked him if the pressure of no longer having an unbeaten record, the expectations of the public made a difference. I think in hindsight it has done. I think he realises that as fights have rolled on. He said a loss still hurts him, but he's still hungry, still ambitious. When the pressure's off, he knows what he's capable of doing now. He wants to put it into practice.
Also perfect professional record, 9-0, 8 knockouts, fighting out of London, England. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Richard Riakporhe.
I don't know about you boys, but I am very much looking forward to this fight. Richard Riakporhe versus Chris Smith, 10 rounds, the WBA Intercontinental Cruiserweight title. As David Diamante just said there, they both have perfect records. Not a lot between these two, 9-0, 8 wins by way of knockout between them. At the press conference yesterday, Richard Riakporhe, there was a little bit of needle from him. Wasn't necessarily the Richard Riakporhe we've seen previously, John.
Well, he needs that edge, and I think working with Dillian Whyte needs him to get a bit rougher, a bit cruder. He's one of those fighters where I believe, and I think Dillian believes, that he's not got the confidence to match his ability. So he needs to drag that out of him.
Richard coming in 14 stone, 3 pounds, 5 ounces, but he pretty much looks like that all the time, Johnny.
Sorry?
Richard, in good shape all the time.
Oh my goodness, yeah, always. You know, he's very conscious of how he looks, and but now he's put it into practice. He thinks, right, I'm going to look like for a reason. This is my job.
What do you think this one's going to come down to? Richard, in his last couple of fights, we saw him against Sam Hyde. He admits himself, we saw it, he was tense, but it was up until that big right hand came that everything came good for him. And then, of course, Tommy McCarthy, last time out, he could have righted his wrongs, as it were.
Yeah, well, they've both got identical records, 9-0, 8 knockouts, so both big punchers, both very strong. Riakporhe froze a little bit for me against Sam Hyde, didn't let his hands go, got too uptight, too stiff, started overthinking it, and was getting well outworked, and he pulled a big right hand out of the bag and had a grotesque injury over Sam Hyde's eye, and rightly so that the fight was stopped. But against Tommy McCarthy, he was a lot better, he let his hands go, and that was a big win for him. Yeah. I thought Tommy McCarthy would win that fight. I thought his experience would be too much for Riakporhe, and that he'd fiddle his way through it, but he didn't. And it was an impressive performance. So I think the confidence that Riakporhe will take from those 2 wins now going into this fight, for me, gives him a slight edge.
Well, speaking to Richard yesterday, he said he was nervous for that Sam Hyde fight, but that those nerves have gone. As of now, it's all about business. He wants to enjoy himself.
Yeah, and like I say, he took a lot of confidence from those 2 fights. It was his first big fight on the big stage, and he had a lot to deal with, but coming through that, getting the win, then going in against Tommy McCarthy, a guy who's way more experienced, he'll be happy.
Right, let's hear from both fighters now, Chris and Richard, with Anna Scott.
Richard, Chris, identical professional records, virtually nothing between you on the scales. Same question to the pair of you. Tell us why you win this fight. You first, Richard.
Too much power, too much speed. Simple.
Chris?
You'll see tomorrow night, it's not just about power, and that's all he relies on, so it's a lot more than that, and I'll show you that tomorrow night.
What do you think the difference, Richard, is between you and Chris?
Heart, will, and just courage. I just got it all.
And Chris, right fight for you at the right stage of your career?
Perfect fight for me at this stage. First step up, perfect opponent, perfect camp. Can't wait to get in there tomorrow night.
Credit to the pair of you for taking this fight. Best of luck.
Thank you, chaps. All right, we're going to take a short break now, but afterwards, Chisora, Price, Allen, and our main event fighters, Dillian Whyte and Oscar Rivas, will step on the scales.
No heavyweights apart from me. I'll fight now.
Don't y'all want to see one champion, one face, one name?
Ruiz catches Joshua.
You have to dream the dream. You have to see it when nobody else sees it. You gotta be possessed with the dream.
No, I'll be there if they call them. I just want to shine on my road. Put it on the top.
I'm here. I'm stubborn and ain't getting anywhere. It's only a matter of time. Trust me.
A lot of people think I just got power.
I want to fight the best in domestic division now. It's a great opportunity for me to prove myself on the big stage.
Just remember that I can box. Trust me.
Hooks to the body. Nice, solid, powerful punches. Right hands upstairs. There's the power. And it's 9 on the spin for React 4.
Get ready, be ready. Fight night, there's no gentleman out there.
Right hand. She's going for it. A cracking right hand. Amazing. Glimpses of his very best.
When someone mistakes niceness for weakness, I won't stand for it.
Big right hand there for Price. That's how he bit him.
It's a disappointing way to win.
Referee has disqualified the red corner for biting David Price.
In the fight, he ruined it for himself. I don't want to share a ring with an animal like that again. The Lucas Brown fight was one I'm interested in. So the winner of him and Dave Allen, I'd be very interested in that.
Targets the body with a good shot like that.
And down goes Brown. This could be Allen by knockout. David does get the win of his life. Wow!
Fight at my pace, and then we'll see. David Price, anyone at all.
Back to Spitalfields Market here in the East End of London, less than 24 hours to go until the big showdown between Dillian Whyte and Oscar Rivas at the O2 Arena tomorrow night. Don't forget to book the fight, Sky Sports box office. But there is so much, Matt, to look forward to on the undercard, one of which of those fights are the two gentlemen stepping on the scales right now. Derek Chisora versus Artur Szpilka. 10 rounds at heavyweight between these two. He admitted himself yesterday, Derek Chisora, he's not a big fan of southpaws. Spilka is a southpaw.
Yeah, he's never been the best at closing the distance, Derek Chisora. Against an orthodox fighter, he can jab, he can slip inside, and that's where he likes to do his work, up close and personal, good body shots, and he finds a good rhythm out of that. But against the southpaw, it kind of takes that away from him. The lead hands kind of cancel each other out. He doesn't get his jab up as good. He doesn't throw particularly great straight right hand, and it's more difficult for him to get up close and work the body. But I think at least with Spilka, he's not really an awkward southpaw. For example, Gashi in his last fight didn't stop moving, so I think that Derek will be able to get to Spilka, and I think he'll be able to work the body.
Derek Chisora coming in at 18 stone 5. He was 18-7 in April versus Senna Gashi. Dave Caldwell is trainer. This is his second fight with Dave Caldwell. When he fought Gashi, he wanted him to come in around the 18 stone mark. 18 stone 5. How does he look to you?
But he looks a good solid 8 stone 5. We both use the same weight stream up in Sheffield, and I've seen him in the gym working out really hard in regards to doing the weights, and in regards to how he's been working with David. He's took himself away from home. These two guys, personality-wise, are a mirror image of each other. They're both as arrogant, as hungry, as rough around the edges as each other. And this will be like two tornadoes clashing in the ring when they get to fight.
And how do you see it going? Yesterday, Chisora said he wasn't really interested in boxing. He just wants a fight.
An on-form Chisora's got to get in the ring and fight Saturday night. If he doesn't, he loses. We saw him box for the European title fight in Monte Carlo. He came underwhelmed. He wasn't feeling it. He can't afford to do this Saturday night. Otherwise, he loses against a guy who, number one, is a southpaw. Number two, is a solid, strong, aggressive southpaw. Number three, a southpaw that is hungry and wants it. And if he wants it more than Derek, Derek's in big trouble.
We asked him what his motivation was. Was it the titles? Did he want to get back at world level? Did he want to try and mix with those people again? And he's just interested in having good fights, interesting fights, and exciting fights.
Yeah, and they're the fights that he gets up for, and they're the fights that he performs well in. So even take the southpaw thing out of it, because I don't think Silka's an awkward southpaw. I think Derek will be able to get to him. It might be a difficult first round or two, but I think he will be able to get to him. And he works the body, and he lands the uppercuts, and he gets to work on the inside. Then that's where he finds his rhythm. But this is a real fight, because Spilka, he's awkward, he can punch too, and you can see he's bang up for it. Good fight.
We just have to apologise. I do believe that Derek Chisora might have done a rude gesture behind us. Derek's in his cheeky mood this week, isn't he?
He wasn't happy to do a public workout. And you know what? I'm just distracted with that. It's 30 deep in this crowd here. Look at the fans that are boxed out. Spilka supporters are over there. Chisora supporters are over here. This is such an atmosphere to get fighters buzzing the day before a fight. And this, if anything's going to motivate Derek Chisora,
I was about to say,
it's going to be a day like today. It's got to be something like this.
Matchroom, they're great promoters. They promote, public workouts, public weigh-ins. This is what it's all about. This is promoting the show. Look at the turnout. It's absolutely brilliant. Boxing is buzzing here in the UK, and this is a great show. Maybe Dillian Whyte isn't a superstar of an AJ, but this is from top to bottom, this is a great card. Real fights, competitive fights.
He's got a lot of fans as well still. A lot of fans that want to see him. What happens when the bell goes?
Sorry?
What happens when the bell goes?
With Chisora? Who knows?
That's the thing, isn't it? That's what makes it exciting.
Who knows? I mean, he seemed really up for it. He said all the right things in the fighter meetings. He said he didn't spar well against the southpaw, but that he peaked at the right time. The last few sessions were really good. So he seemed in a good place.
Well, this fight, I said it earlier, but it really, really, really has got everyone talking. David Price versus David Allen.
On paper.
We talk about 50-50 fights. Never true on this occasion.
Well, on paper, this is not a 50-50 fight. On paper, David Price wins this hands down on paper. The reality is, David Price's biggest enemy is himself. If he can overcome that, then he beats this man on the scales here. On paper. But in reality, this man here has got too much heart, too much determination to make it go to form.
Yeah, agreeing with Johnny. I think that the biggest problem for David Price has always been psychological, confidence. But I think in David Allen, I think he sees someone that he feels he's better than, and he thinks, no, I'm above you, I can beat you.
He sparred in I think, I'm not sure if they've sparred together, but I know that David Allen sparred Craig Glover, a gym mate of David Price's. So I think David Price goes into this fight with a lot of confidence, and that's key for him.
David Allen coming at 17 stone 5'4". He trimmed down to 17 stone 7 when he fought Lucas Brown in April. His second fight with Darren Barker. He said something lovely yesterday in the meetings. He said that Darren Barker, I'm not sure we're meant to say this, but basically Darren trained him for free last time. That's how much belief Darren had in him.
Maybe that little hug, that little arm
down
around the shoulder is what Dave Allen needs to want it as much as somebody else does. It's about self-worth, not confidence, because he's a very confident individual. It's about self-worth. So now he's thinking, you know what? I've seen something nice in someone. I like this. I'm going to want it as much as he wants it. Because David Allen could happily go in the ring and just fight and not care if he won or lost. And I think Darren Barker's giving him that buzz to say, come on, son, have a bit of pride in your work.
Well, Dave Allen physically and mentally in a great place, but as is David Price. Again, he spoke about how he has himself taken the pressure off himself. He's no longer sort of overthinking things, putting the pressure on, which caused him to make the mistakes that he did.
Yeah, that's the word, Anna, pressure, and that's the thing that David Price has struggled with psychologically. He had those 2 bad knockout defeats against Tony Thompson back-to-back, and then there were a lot of demons there after that, and he struggled really to ever come back, and probably never really did. But he's had a few good performances lately, you know, against Povetkin. Even though he lost and got knocked out, it was kind of a good performance. He had Povetkin hurt, so you know this is a great fight. You've got 2 guys that both that everyone loves. No one wants to see a loser, but we have
it's
to.
It's so hard, isn't it, when it gets in this situation?
I think it's going to be a dramatic whatever happens.
Right, let's hear from both Davids now with Andy Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Anna. David and David, come to you first, David Allen. All smiles, a lot of respect between the 2 of you, but tell us why you win this fight tomorrow.
I think I'll win because I will be better than the other David.
What sort of fight can we expect?
I don't know. I don't actually know. I hope for an exciting one for everyone here. For myself, I hope it's one-sided and I don't get hit. But I don't know. A lot will depend on what David wants to do. He's the bigger man. He will dictate what happens, and I will take care of business depending on what he does. The fight will play out. You know, I will let David decide how it plays out, and I will win regardless.
David Price, do you agree with that? David says a lot of this fight depends on what you want to do.
I think he might be passing the buck a little bit there to put all the onus on me. But look, I'm just going to get in and concentrate on what I need to do, and if that means Dave Allen having to react to what I'm going to have to do, then that's better for me. So I'm looking forward to getting in and putting my game plan into place and seeing where we go from there.
People at home shouldn't get it twisted, I suppose. There's a huge amount of respect and good humour between the 2 of you, but will that all go out the window when the first bell rings?
100%. Look, we're professionals at the end of the day. We're prize fighters, and we're both fighting to win, to go on to bigger and better things, and you know, we can be friends after the fight's finished, but until then it's all business.
Is it make or break for both of you? I'll come to you first, David Price.
In a nutshell, probably is, yeah. There's a lot on the line in this fight for me. You know, I'm desperate to win it. That's all I have to say about that.
What about you, Dave?
People say this about every fight. I'm still 27. I had 33 fights amateur and pro. You know, when David was coming along, you know, with Olympic bronze medal, I was still at school, never boxed in my life. So, you know, I've got a long way to go. I don't see me losing the fight tomorrow, so I'm not really worrying about that. But, you know, I'm still a work in progress. I just believe I've got enough in the tank at this stage to beat David at this stage. But I'm really looking forward to it. Hello, everyone that's here. Hello, everyone watching at home. Can't wait for tomorrow.
Okay, final prediction before you go. Final prediction, both of you.
Ask David first.
David.
Big win for me, KO.
Bigger win for me, bigger KO.
Okay, thanks both of us for talking to us.
Oh, Dave Allen has to have the final say, doesn't it? It is so hard. This is such a hard fight to pick a winner in.
Don't be fooled by that boy next door image Dave Allen is trying to put across. Because once the bell goes, his intention is to try and knock a massive, in comparison when you saw the size of there.
You can't ignore the
David
size,
Price
can you?
out. So that big right hand over the top is the shot you throw when you get up close and personal. So don't be fooled by that nice boy next door image he's dropping out.
Well, David Allen said to David Price then, it's up to David Price how the fight pans out.
I think David Price, the bigger man, the taller man, I think he's going to be the one that comes out and tries to dictate behind the jab.
you'll see Dillian Whyte coming in now. But yeah, I think it's important that David Price tries to get out, establish his jab. If he can back Dave Allen up, that'd be great. Dave Allen definitely doesn't want to get backed up on the ropes.
It looks like Dillian Whyte might have changed his mind. He got out of the car, walked towards the door, and he's walking away. No, he's coming in. I am joking. Don't worry, he will be here very shortly. As chilled as you like, as chilled as Dillian Whyte always is.
Dillian Whyte, again, I'll keep saying this kind of, it's show business, and he just wants to get down to business. You know, he wants to just fight. The show itself, it's not important to him. He just wants to get out to business.
He's incredibly focused. He looks after a few fighters on the bill tonight that are on the card tomorrow night, rather. And when we asked, are you going to be following those guys? Are you going to be seeing what they're up to? He was literally like, nope, I'm concentrating on myself. It's my fight. End of.
Tough love.
Yeah.
It's tough love. It reminds me of a typical West Indian parent. It's tough loving. It's like, you know what, you tend to your own business when you get in there. I've got my own stuff to sort out. And when he said that in the fighters meeting yesterday, I smiled. I thought, oh my God, you're so, you just don't care when it's fight night. Of course he cares about his fighters, but no nonsense.
Right, let's hear from the man in charge of all the Matchroom Boxing. It is Eddie Hearn. He is with Andy Scott.
Eddie, everyone's been talking this fight up, fight of the night, 50-50 fight. No one knows what's going to happen, so tell us what you think is going to happen.
We don't know what's going to happen. That's what makes it such a great fight. Got Oscar Rivas down there looking like a tank. You got Dillian Whyte parked up round the corner. Won't leave the car till it's his time to weigh in. He's on en route now. It's a big fight, WBC interim world title. But what a card as well. Derek Chisora against Artur Szpilka. Good support from the Polish here. Dave Allen against Dave Price, everybody's talking about that fight. Riakporhe against Billum Smith, even Charlie Duffield against Dan Aziz, Lawrence Okoli. It's a big night, and these guys are going to come face to face now.
You mentioned Oscar Rivas standing down by the stage. How's your gut feeling? Because he does look the part. Can he fight as well?
Yeah, he's a great fighter. You know, great amateur pedigree, beat Ruiz, beat Pulev in the amateurs. Well ranked, just coming off a big knockout win over Bryant Jennings. He's motivated. He's relentless. He's going to put it on Dillian Whyte tomorrow, and I think you're going to get a war.
The WBC interim news just adds a little bit more to it as well. What does a win do here for Dillian Whyte?
Well, it puts him in mandatory position for the WBC World Championship, and at the moment that's held by Deontay Wilder. It's something that he's chased for a long, long time. We've finally got it papered, but it's all irrelevant if he doesn't win tomorrow. So the focus is one fight at a time. Beat Oscar Rivas tomorrow night at the O2.
If he produces his best work, do you believe he can take his unbeaten record and knock him out?
Yeah, I do, but I think he may have to get up off the deck. I think it's going to be backwards and forwards. Rivas is going to stick it on Dillian Whyte, and if you do that, you're going to be in for a tough night. Dillian's ready. Rivas is ready. Let's go, baby, as Dillian Whyte says.
Okay, thanks, Eddie.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dillian Whyte's trainer, Mark Tibbs, is going to be a busy man as well tonight. He's got several fighters on the card. Is that a good or a bad thing, do you think, Johnny?
Oh, I don't know. His heart's going to withstand the pressure, because remember, when he walks in the ring with one fighter, he's got to G that fighter up, give him motivation. If he wins or loses, he's still got to go back into the change room, what the other fighter are, and have a poker face and just rub it out as though the last fight didn't happen. It's going to be mentally exhausting because, again, he's got to adapt tactics to each individual, remember what he can do, what he can't do, what he's good at.
How do you do that? How do you control your emotions like that? Because tomorrow night for Mark Tibbs could be a roller coaster of emotions.
Sorry?
Tomorrow night for Mark Tibbs, I'm going to give you a hearing aid tomorrow. It could be a roller coaster of emotions for him.
Yeah, I mean, I remember years ago, Billy Graham, Johnny, I remember probably with Brendan Ingle had all those fighters on the card, and you know, someone would do the 6th round or an 8th round at a title fight, and then, you know, you might have a fighter who got knocked out, and then you've literally got to run back and go back in there, change, get a different game plan on for the guy. I mean, emotionally, for those guys, Mark Tibbs, and you know, up and down.
And you've got to treat a world champion exactly the same as you treat a 4-rounder. You've got the same amount. You've got to give him the same amount of attention, love, focus, motivation, and that's why being Mark, it's going to be hard for him, but that's the job you do.
Here he is. He is leaving the car. He is heading into here. What did you make of that, Eddie saying that he didn't want to leave his car until the last minute, until he's weighing in? Is he playing games? Because that's not what Dillian Whyte's normally about.
Yeah, Dillian's a no-nonsense kind of guy. That he might have been having a conversation, or he's thinking, you know what, I want to walk in there, and I've got to get straight on stage, no hanging about the bike, in and out. And that's exactly what he's doing. He doesn't play games.
Yeah, or maybe just being fashionably late.
It's his prerogative.
He's not really that type, but you know, he's. I don't know. I think he probably just wants to come in, get. I think when you are a couple of days out from a fight, particularly the way, and some fighters more than others, you've got a certain game face on, and I think he just wants to. He's a no-nonsense type of guy. I think he wants to get in, get weight on, and then dip off. You know, he's not a heavyweight, so he's a heavyweight, so he doesn't have to refuel as such. But I think he just wants to stay focused, and I think being around, I don't think it's really his thing.
Do you think the fact that there is a carrot, as you were, dangled in front of him, that he could get that fight with Deontay Wilder if Wilder comes to All Season Fury? Do you think that could play on his mind?
I think he's been let down that much. He doesn't expect anything. I saw him at breakfast this morning, and he said what he does is he goes to bed late, he trains late now, he's just concentrating on what's in front of him. When asked about the wides and stuff like that, he's just like, you know what, I'm not even thinking about that because these guys don't want to fight. So he's mess about with them.
Yeah, I just think he's really focused. I think he spoke so well at the fighters' meeting, even when we were talking about world title shots and WBC managers. He didn't want to hear about it. He just wanted to stay focused. He wanted to concentrate on the job at hand with Oscar Rivas, and I like that.
Oh, okay, let's hand you over to MC David Diamante for the introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please welcome to the microphone the International Boxing Hall of Famer, Mr. Michael Buffer.
Thank you, David Diamante. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you all for being so patient. We have a great crowd here, obviously over 1,000 people, so we thank you very much. Well, let's get this party started. As David Diamante presented the entire card leading up to this main event tomorrow night. And it's all at the Cathedral of Sports and Entertainment in London, the O2 Arena, presented by Mr. Eddie Hearn from Matchroom Boxing, along with Val and Group Yvonne Michel. A great night of boxing tomorrow night at the O2. But the main event, it's the big boys of boxing. Two top-ranked heavyweights will go at it, and on the line, scheduled for 12 rounds, is the vacant WBC interim heavyweight championship of the world. The winner will be the mandatory for the WBC World Heavyweight Championship. And it'll be broadcast live on Sky Sports Box Office and internationally on DAZN, all their platforms, DAZN DAZN. Sponsored by William Hill, StubHub, and JD Sports. Well, at this time, let's bring up the two fighters for the main event. First, onto the stage, a perfect record consisting of 26 fights, 26 victories, 18 big wins by knockout. He's the NABF and NABO heavyweight champion, and he is the current undefeated IBF international heavyweight champion, originally from Colombia, now living, training, and fighting out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Oscar Kaboom Rivas! And now welcome to the stage his opponent, also with 26 fights, 25 victories, the same 18 big wins by knockout, only one defeat in his career 4 years ago, since then undefeated 9-0, 6 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the former British heavyweight champion, former WBC international heavyweight champion, and the current WBO international champ and WBC silver heavyweight champion, the fighting pride of Brixton, London, England, #1 ranked heavyweight in the world, Dillian, the Body Snatcher Whyte. First onto the scales will be the gentleman from Montreal, Canada, perfect record, 26-0, 18 wins by knockout, official weight. "17 stone, 1 pound, 3 ounces for Oscar Kaboom Rivas. Next onto the scales. Gentlemen, we all know the same amount of fights, 26 fights, 25 victories, 18 KOs to his credit. the heavyweight fighting pride of Brixton, ranked #1 in the world, the WBO silver heavyweight champion, Dillian, the body snatcher, Whyte! "18 stone, 7 pounds for the body snatcher, Dillian Whyte."
So Dillian Whyte coming in at 18 stone 7. Dillian 18 stone 7, then Rivas 17 stone 1. What did you make of that, Johnny? How do they look to you?
Wow. What does that mean? Does that mean he wants to come in and try and stop Rivas? Because he himself said in the fighters meeting, when I come in heavy, I get a little, I feel a little sluggish. I feel basically a little tired as the fight rolls on. So he's going to hope he can maintain that weight and persistence as the fight rolls on.
Are you surprised at that?
I am surprised.
Considering yesterday, the fighters meeting, it was 24 hours ago, Dillian Whyte said to us he was expecting to come in around 17 stone 8. That's when he was happy. We're just looking at this stairwell.
A bit of head-to-head there, got plenty of need and the stare down. Yeah, I'm surprised that Dillian come in so heavy, to be honest. I thought he'd be just under 18 stone, but just still staring each other down here.
So far up until now, it's been pretty respectful between the two of them. There's been no real dramas. It's starting to heat up now.
So I know you've got two fighters in there that are not willing to give ground at all. Two hungry fighters that have got an ego. Two fighters that want to show, you know what, I'm going in there. I believe I'm going to beat you. When you've got a combination of the two fighters that no matter what, don't think they're going to lose. You've got a combination. You've got the ingredients for a good, no-nonsense fight. They want to get on with it.
All right, Andy Scott's with Dillian Whyte now.
Dillian, really intense head-to-head. Does that show just how fired up you are ahead of tomorrow night?
I'm easy, man. I'm good. I'm ready to go. Easy.
What are you happy with the weight? You said to us yesterday, ideally around 18 stone is your optimum weight. 18 stone 7. Does that show us that you...
18 stone 2, you get it wrong. I weigh 18 stone 2.
18 stone 2. Is that what you wanted to be?
Younger guys to look at the skills on the board. Yeah, 18 stone, yeah, around 18 stone 2 is fine. You know.
For everyone here, what sort of fight can we expect tomorrow night? What sort of fight do you want to produce?
Listen, you know, I'll come to the one thing that's entertain and put on the best show I can and try and bring pain.
You got a message for everyone that's gathered here tonight on a Friday afternoon?
Yeah, tune in tomorrow. It's going to be an all-out war, you know, and I'm pissed off as well.
Apologies for language. Why is that?
Just want to go.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, wish you all the best of luck ahead of tomorrow night.
Very much game face on Dillian Whyte there. 18 stone 7, Matt, you've just said to me, I think that's too heavy.
Yeah, I think it's half a stone too heavy. I would like to see him just under 18 stone. I know we said before, I thought his optimum fighting weight was somewhere between 17.5, 17.10. That's by we're going on prior performances, previous performances, but you know, 18.7 is a pretty substantial jump up, and you know, this is a very real fight, which I know he knows it is. Yeah, for me, I'm surprised he come in that heavy.
How does it play out, Johnny?
I don't get that. But you know what? He's a very confident, focused man. It means every shot he throws is going to be thrown with all his bad intentions, but he's hoping to take Rivas out of there. And it's very possible, but I just think it's going to be a tough slog. Hard night. I'm telling you now, Sunday morning he's going to wake up and there's going to be regrets there. The regret may be, you know what, why did I pick him? Because that was a tough fight. Or the obvious regret is if he lost to Rivas. But it's going to be a tough night for him, especially coming in that way.
What happens, Matt? Bell goes.
Look, this is a real fight. I think Dillian's the favourite, rightly so. He's been the one boxing at the higher level up to now. But Rivas is bouncing into this fight off his career best win against Brian Jennings. He's got great momentum. He's undefeated. He's an Olympian. He's been crying out for this opportunity. So this is a real fight.
All right, chaps, thank you very much for your time this evening. Well, the talking is done, isn't it? There is only one place to watch this fight. Top-ranked contender Dillian Whyte puts it all on the line against unbeaten former Olympian Oscar Rivas. There's a packed undercard before the big one as well, with coverage getting underway from 6 p.m. on Saturday night on Sky Sports Box Office. Sky customers should go to channel 491 or Box Office to book this event. For more information on all the ways to watch, go to skysports.com/White. Virgin Media and TalkTalk customers, please contact your operator. So that is it. The talking is done, the weighing is done. It is all eyes on fight night. Join us tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, Sky Sports Box Office.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.